And we are back with some brilliant frugal living. And you can tell by the smile in my voice, we are talking about one of my favorite things ever, and that's weddings. As I get a little older, as my daughter is now well into her teenage years, my son's, getting a little older too, you start thinking along those lines. You think about the fun wedding you had, all of the fun weddings you've been to, and weddings, no matter whether they've been over the top crazy or much more quiet and sedate, they're all lovely. And one thing they're having in common a lot these days is that the price tag is scary. No matter who you're talking to, whether they're well-heeled, so to speak, or they're kind of, trying to scrimp everything together for a wedding, people feel like they have to overspend. Very normal, rational, incredibly frugal people, smart with their money, feel like you have to overspend. It's one of those rare occasions where common sense a lot of times goes out the window. We wouldn't spend, let's say, $1,000 on cake for 100 people in any other aspect of our life. We wouldn't spend, $2,000 on a piece of clothing that maybe only cost $50 to make, that kind of thing. So it helps sometimes to kind of hear from somebody who, and we heard from people coast to coast, who have been just married, or they've been married for 50 plus years, or they're planning on getting married, and all of their great ideas for saving cash. Now, in the earlier parts of the show, on other segments before this, we're going to recap really briefly, and then we're going to hit the really hard-hitting stuff. When it comes to the bar, I'm just going to put it out there. Think long and hard of starting this new trend where you have 20, no, make that 50 different beverage selections behind the bar and no alcohol. Because the people who get it, the people who are there to celebrate the new wedding, the new marriage, the new married couple, and all the freshness and beautifulness and fabulousness of that, they don't care about alcohol. The jerks that we all know and love, I shouldn't say jerks because, we all have friends that we know and love, but I got to revisit this for a second. The wedding I just went to had a couple of beloved guests. I've known these people for decades. They would do just about anything for anybody. They were crazy people. I'm sorry, they got in front of an open free bar and they were crazy people. And it got me thinking, despite the fact that there were 200 people at this wedding, I don't think any of them would have a problem with coming to a reception that had no alcohol to it. We're in a day and age where you hear about the accidents on the road. You hear about, mishaps, God forbid, an argument in a parking lot somewhere, someone falling, the insurance costs. That's not what a wedding is supposed to be concerned with. And if by one simple measure, one simple move, you can slash the risk of that kind of thing happening, I'm here to tell you, think about doing it. Maybe some champagne for a toast, whatever else. Think about the ripple effect of not having alcohol at your wedding reception. It's bold. It's fabulous. It's money saving. That is some brilliant frugal living. Just something to toss out there. We talked about the food. I want to talk more about the food. The food's important. You have people coming from far and near to celebrate you and your wedding. You want to feed them right, but you want to feed them in a way that doesn't break you financially, and they still come away saying that was an absolutely fabulous, amazing meal. And I'm here to tell you something. When you have the sit-down service and people are waiting on you, very nice, very schmancy. I have yet to have my food come out at a hot temperature at one of these things. And you've got the wait staff that's running around like crazy. You've got some people already in their cups, so to speak, a little tipsy, saying, hey, sister, while you're dropping that steak in front of me, why don't you go get me a rum and Coke, that kind of thing. When you have a buffet instead, think about having buffet tables set up, buffet whatever set up, and then you can have your guests go to that. Somebody sent me, more than one somebody sent me this fantastic option. I love this. And it's near us here in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, where they did this. That's relevant. They had this huge wedding. There were 300 people at this wedding. The bride and the groom were in their 20s. It was a huge group of people. They had it out at this wonderful center. And they had it wasn't a potluck. It was the type, I don't know how you phrase this exactly, but the waitstaff came out and put huge platters of gorgeous, the smells, they said was incredible, beautiful fried chicken, platters on every table at the same time, macaroni and cheese and huge, beautiful serving dishes, all on the tables at the same time. Beautiful, amazing rolls rolls and breads and pastries, the likes of which could only be made by loving Pennsylvania Amish hands, all right? This was not an Amish wedding, but it was out near Amish country, Lancaster, a beautiful hotel near the church. It was like literally within sight of the church. The church did not have a place where you could meet up and have this size of a group. So they went to a nearby restaurant and had everything in such a way that you had these huge amounts put on the table at the same time, and everybody served themselves, and everybody ate at the same time. It was time efficient. It was wait staff efficient. Nobody was hungry, and it was seriously cash efficient. That's what you want for your wedding. You want people getting up from their table saying, oh my God, that was one of the best meals I've had in a while. Delish. And then you can talk about the desserts. Let's take this down because this is our last segment. Let's think long and hard about this. You've got a beautiful bride walking down the aisle. She can't stop smiling. The groom can't stop smiling. And she's walking down the aisle in a beautiful Christian Dior gown that's worth about 15 grand, somewhere between 8 and 15 grand, that she got at Goodwill in perfect condition, needed a little bit of altering. She got it for $100 instead. The groom is wearing his handsome suit. There's no such thing as a groom that doesn't look gorgeous. They're all gorgeous. Don't buy a tux that you're just going to trip around in that's ill-fitting. Get yourself in one of your favorite suits and just grin. It's all about you and she, okay? The groomsmen, just, suck it up, guys. Wear your suits. Ladies, wear these beautiful cocktail dresses if it's an evening wedding. Your best lovely dark suits if it's not. Think about the flowers. I got to get the flowers in. I'm hearing people saying, and this was brilliant, I got to throw a couple of stories in here. Flowers for a group of 200 and all of these bridesmaids, they were getting quotes of $2,000 for flowers, which during a wedding seems okay. She went to her local Walmart, placed an order for those beautiful bunches of flowers. The multicolor is for an autumn wedding. Each one of her bridesmaids carried one of these beautiful, full, gorgeous, I'm seeing pictures of it, autumnal bouquets with all the vibrant colors. They had one on every one of their 20 tables. The groomsmen took a flower from each one of those for their boutonnieres, and they did flowers for $150 rather than $2 grand. Everybody loved it. That's what I'm talking about. You have the flawless wedding dress for a couple hundred rather than thousands. You have your beautiful flowers for $150 rather than $2 grand. You have food that everybody raves about, and it costs a fraction of the sit down, I'm sorry, no matter how much you hustled, it's still cold when you put it in front of me, steaks. Keep it a simple affair. People are there to celebrate you. They're not there to say how much they're spending. They're not there to say, oh, you should have spent more here, you should have spent less here. It's all about the family getting married. I love it. One last thing, completely out of turn. Forget those chair covers. They had the chair covers at this wedding. It was beautiful in the pictures. It kept riding up. I'm jerking this sort of like this chair skirt thing down. Beautiful in the pictures. Clearly cost a couple hundred. Keep the money back in your pocket. Guys, weddings are one of the best things ever. Imagine getting the favorite people in your life married for a fraction of what it normally costs. A beautiful affair, maybe even some money in the bank, a down payment on a house rather than the wedding costs. It's all doable, guys. Think outside the box. And until next week, save those pennies, pay with cash, and you all stay frugal out there.